something which is called agentic AI, right? So when something pops up, these terms, right? Because this is frequently used now, generative AI and agentic AI, okay? So these two terms are used frequently. But when it comes to, agentic AI, so something which can take actions, okay? So generative AI only takes, when you say generative AI, so it's more about creating, generating a new content, generating new content. Okay. So content could be audio, video, a lot of things that you can, generate. But when it comes to, agentic AI, so there is something called reasoning. Okay. Then we have something called planning and action. So something which can take actions on your behalf is called agentic AI, okay? But when you have a multiple agent together, talking to each other, then we call it as agentic AI. But there are two terms, So when you have something called AI agent, plus we have something called agentic AI, okay? So these two terms are used frequently, but whenever you see something written as a agent, so it will take some actions. Okay. So anything here in the GenAI ecosystems which can take actions on your behalf is called agent. But when multiple agent talking to each other, right? So when you have a multiple agent, okay, multiple agents talking to each other. Yeah. To, finish a goal, to achieve a goal. Okay. So this is, we call it as a agentic AI when you have a multiple agent. Okay. So in that case, we'll say it is, agentic AI. But there are also a framework, in this agentic ecosystem. So you might have heard of something, the agentic AI, if you see some of the frameworks. So the something which are very important, framework is, you might have heard of something called lang graph. Okay. And then you have something called langchain, but it's a family of lang graph only. But also we have something called semantic kernel. Okay. Something called autogen and something called to AI. So these are the frameworks typically, and we can use it within this Microsoft, this Foundry ecosystem. So again, coming to this Foundry ecosystem, so let me share my one screen. I think, this is the base of this agentic AI. So let me sum it up for you because we will be using this Microsoft Foundry. It's again one of the services provided by, the Microsoft. So to, create entire end-to-end, generative AI and agentic AI solutions from scratch and to deployment. So this is the one platform where you can use it, this, Microsoft Foundry. Okay. So now coming to, let me share one screen and let's see. So now, and then we'll see, the one of the small use case using the Microsoft Foundry. Okay. So how you can use it, because ultimately, the Microsoft Foundry, how it can help you, right? Because coming to, and I'll also talk about few of the jobs opportunities. And once you learn this, this course, you'll have a lot of opportunities. So let me talk few of things before I proceed. So you might have heard of something called, AI, you could be AI consultant, Gen AI consultant in Azure cloud. Okay. And also you could be one of the roles which are very prominent right now is called forward deployed engineer. Okay. So the Microsoft Foundry has 50% contribution in forward deployed engineering. So if you cover this course, your 50% of the forward deployed engineering that will be covered. Okay. So coming to this Microsoft Foundry one, so this is again, I was just talking about, it's again one dedicated end-to-end platform. So where you can build, ground and govern production grade AI systems. So when I say AI systems, it could be your RAG applications, agentic applications. Okay, so agentic applications are also built on top of tools, function calling. There is something called MCPs. Okay, so all these things we'll try to cover it today so that you'll have a visibility of this Microsoft service called Microsoft Form. Okay, so let's go into this few of the basic concepts that I'll try to touch. So as I was just explaining as something called the AI agent and agentic AI. So when you say agentic AI, okay, so it means again it will have some reasoning, planning, and it can take some action. So if you see something called tool calls, so tool call is nothing but a kind of a way to take some actions. For example, if I tell you to book ticket from Chennai to Bangalore, so your chat GPT will not book ticket for you. They can only give you some of the idea, some of the fare price or maybe the distance. They can give you a lot of informations. Okay, but when you tell them to take some actions, can you book ticket, they cannot. So they need some of the external database access, external booking systems APIs. So the LLM alone cannot take actions. So that is why we need one of the kind of API external help to take some action. So that is why this term agent or agentic AI is in the market, right? And to execute that, entire agentic AI use case, we have a different tool calling, function calling. There are MCP servers that you can give access to, LLM to take actions. For example, you might have heard of a term called, a lot of times in our family and, in a place where we work, that this guy is a main man of actions because he take actions. He doesn't only speaks, right? So LLM, you can treat it as a kind of a person who can only speaks. But when it comes to agent, it will take actions, right? So Microsoft Foundry is a place where we will be building entire end-to-end, agentic AI solutions which can take actions, right? So again, Microsoft Foundry, it's again a unified enterprise platform. So what you can do, you can build, ground your AI agent and govern AI apps, okay, across their full cycles. So again, when you develop, whenever you have any of the use cases, first you try to understand the intent of the use cases. For example, if you have worked on a virtual assistant or maybe creating, you can say the AI assistant, where you have few components of calling, creating some agents, calling some tools, some functions, connecting with the MCP servers. In that case, you have to cover all the life cycles. For example, it's not about creating the AI agent and deploying it. The main part starts when you deploy your applications end to end, right? Because you have to have observability, have to have inside those responsible AI framework, right? So you track your how your AI agents typically works, right? So this Microsoft Foundry gives you the entire flexibility to create, build, and execute the entire the agentic AI ecosystems. Okay. Also, it's a one management plane. So agent model tools. Okay. Also, the Azure resources we can use. There are also rollback, access controls. We'll also have to look into networking policies. But formally, if you people are in the group, you might be knowing. Formerly, it was before Microsoft Foundry, it was Azure AI Foundry. Okay, in the early 2026. So the Microsoft has renamed it as the Microsoft Foundry. Okay. So today we'll see that the how from this the LLMs to take actions, how it can take actions. So that is what we'll try to achieve it today. Okay. So let me go to the Microsoft Foundry and we'll see one of the use case first, okay? So let me share my screen and we'll see that the how, we can create one of the applications, okay? Let me just discard it. Okay? Let me come to this screen, okay? Hope my screen is visible. So this is again Microsoft, the portal. Okay, so once you type in, portal.azure.com. So those people who haven't used it, just you have to type in this azure.com. And also, if you don't have a subscriptions, you can go through the YouTube link. There are a lot of YouTube links available. So you can create, you can get a subscriptions pay as you go of the Microsoft Azure. And once you have this one, your screen will look like this, okay? So it's a home screen, okay? So if you see on the right side, this is again a dashboard where I have used few services frequently. So that is why you are seeing this screen, okay? So there is something called Microsoft Foundry, as I was just talking about. So what you will do, you will just type in Microsoft, and just type in Microsoft Foundry. So once you type in Microsoft Foundry, there are a lot of services. It's showing 40, but you have to, click this Microsoft Foundry one. So once you click this Microsoft Foundry one, okay, so you'll have a screen like this. Okay, so let me make it a bit, visible to you so that it makes sense. So once you have this one, Microsoft Foundry, okay, so you have a few of the services listed out. So use with Foundry, okay. So this is the place where, if you want to create some of the agents or RAG applications. So in this Foundry is a place where you can create your entire end-to-end applications. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to click this Foundry. Okay. So once you click this Foundry, okay. So there is a plus create button is there. Okay. So you go and hit this create. Okay. So once you go and hit this create button, okay, there is something called pay as you go. This is my subscriptions. Yeah. So your subscription might be different, okay? But this is the one that I'm using is pay as you go, okay? Then there is something called resource group. So in this Microsoft ecosystem, so whenever you create any applications, you have to have one resource group. Within that, you create different services, okay? So what I'll do, I'll create RG. I'll say agent demo, okay? And put 01, okay? So you just create it, just say RG agent demo and put 01. If it is available, it will give us, okay? So this is the resource group you will create. And the name, I'll say Foundry, okay? Agent demo, okay? And let's say first, or let's say put the same, hierarchy, okay? FD is, why I put FD is, it's a Foundry resource, okay? Just for our purpose. And if you go down, there is something called EastUS. So it is by default, but there are different regions. So in which region I'm trying to create. So there is a, logic of putting your resources in different regions. So there might be a region where few of the Azure services are not available. Okay. For example, if you go to, let's say in some of the, you can say Gulf organizations, few of the services are not available. Even in India, we do not have few services available. Okay. So based on this, we can select the services. Okay. For example, let's say I am selecting Switzerland North. Okay. You can select India as well. Okay. Now, if you go down, there is something called default project name. So let me put the name as, agent demo August 2026. Okay. Let's put the name of this. So if you go up, so what we have given, Subscription is there, already there. We have created a resource group and given the name of this foundry, okay? And the reason we have selected, three things we have selected. And the something which is important also to, if you have multiple projects, so just name it, okay? As per your project name, okay? Just go and review and create it, okay? Directly, yeah, right now. If some error comes, we get errors here. So it is a best way to create a Foundry resource. Okay, just put it and see whether if any error comes. So it will take some 30, 40 seconds. And then you'll have a screen like this. Okay. So once you have a screen like this, just read all these things that you have provisioned. Okay. So the name of the resource group is RG Agent Demo, FD Agent Demo, and the reason where we have created resource is Switzerland. Okay. And default project name is Agent Demo August 2026. Okay. Once we are sure of, then we'll hit this create. Okay. So directly go and hit create. Okay. So once we create this hit button, so let's see how much time it takes. It's take maybe 30, 40 seconds, and then it will provision the resource. So let's wait. Okay? So as you are seeing, it has created AI Foundry create. They have this number. Okay? And there is something called overview. Okay. So whatever we are creating, we are getting the overview of this. And also in this process, you'll have this community like this deployment within products. Okay. So all details you will see on the right side of the dashboard, like it. Okay. As it is in the creation stage, so we have to wait for a few more seconds. Let's wait for a few more seconds and we'll see how it is creating a resource. So it is deployed, okay, and it has created. So we'll hit this go to resource button, okay. So once you hit this, the resource button, so we'll have this FD addendum. So this is important. So once we have created this Foundry resource, okay, this is the Foundry resource, FD and then demo one that we have created. On the right, this is the dashboard. Okay. So we have all the details that we have created, and there is something called endpoint also. I'll discuss what is this endpoint because if we're creating custom agents, so through the Python, so you need an access to this Foundry, through this endpoint. So that is why this endpoint is important. Okay, so let me click this endpoint for you for your visibility. So we have two things that you get. One is key and endpoint. Okay, it's like an API keys, and I have these keys. Okay, so if I want to access this Foundry, endpoint, I need this key, and in the Python I can have this access. Okay, but go to this Foundry one, go to resource one. Right now we don't need. Okay. There is something called go to Foundry bottom. Okay. Also, if you go below, what it says, if you see this one. So if we have to build app, if you want to build apps, agents in Foundry, okay, unlock advanced AI capabilities, seamlessly integrate with your systems, and accelerate AI applications development with the Foundry. Okay, so this is the place where majorly, the people of this, the agentic AI, those who work in, they typically work here. Okay, so let me cross it and go to Foundry from here. Okay, just hit this one. Okay, once you hit this one, you'll have a different screen. So let's see. Okay, so once you have this screen, let's wait, and we'll have a different screen. Okay? So this is a Microsoft Foundry. Okay, so we have this screen called Microsoft Foundry. Okay, so in this one, the name of the agent, if we go up, agent demo, the name of the project that we have given, and on the top, if you see, there is something called home, discover, build, operate, and docs. These are also important for us. Okay, and if you see in this one, there is something called use a model. Okay, and there is something called view deployment. Okay, On the right side, if you go, there is something called build an agent. So here the story starts. So if you want to build agents within this Microsoft ecosystems, so this button is important because here what we will be doing is creating an agent by configuring instructions, tools, knowledge without writing a code. Okay. So for example, if you want to test up the POCs, let's say you are working on a POC, so how quickly you can build, the RAG or agentic AI applications within this Microsoft form. So it will not take, an hour. Maybe in 30 minutes, you can create a small POC and you can demonstrate it to your client, right? So this is one fastest and quickest way that you can have within this, Microsoft ecosystem is Foundry, okay? So let's hit this start button, okay? But before that, let's see this entire screen first. Also through the code that you can create. So if you go below, the same thing that I was just trying to show you, that if you want to access to this, our Foundry, so this API key is required, project endpoint we need, okay, and the by default model access is there. So OpenAI is nothing but LLM, yeah. This is the project and this is the key. So people who want to customize the AI agent using Python script needs API key, project endpoint, and one of the LLM. Okay, these three things you need. Now go down. If you go down, there is something called testing playground that we will see, and there are also explore models. So we have a lot of models available. So let's click this one, and let's see that how many models are available. So if you see this one, it is loading and will have a lot of models available. So GPT 5.6 as well. So if you see this one, this is the recent, the versions of GPT series. Okay, so chat completions and response. So why we need this, the LLM typically? So the reason of LLM is that it gives us natural language response. Because as we are a human, we only understand things in a natural language. Okay. For example, if I give you a long SQL query, you cannot understand it, right? So is there any way that the LLM can convert your query into SQL and get data from the database, and again whatever data they have collected from the database, they try to give a summary in a natural language. So LLM is a one of I would say the recent development where you'll have access to the responses in natural language. Okay, so we have a different models. You see a lot of here, math, for the transcriptions and everything. Grok model, DeepSeek, Kimi is also. If you people are good in reading research or writing research, this is the Kimi. This LLM is also important. Okay. So we have a lot of the LLMs available. Mistral, okay. So just name it and you'll have access to, okay, but not all, but yes, the important ones are available. Okay. So let's go back to the Microsoft Foundry, okay, and then we'll come back again. Okay. Now we have this, all these things are available. Also, if you want to have access to some of the docs, if you want to, learn, you have also some of the GitHub, code repo, Discord link is there also, some of the community group that you want to join. So the Microsoft Foundry is one place, it will help you a lot, okay, to create an agent. And let's hit this something called start building, okay. So once you just, hit this start building, okay, here it is saying what it says that create a unique name for your agent. Okay. For example, if you're working in some of the agent, let's say I'm working on wave search agent. So I'll say wave search. Let's say I'm putting data agent. So if you put this wave search data agent, okay, and just hit create. Okay. So once you hit this create, okay, so let's wait for some 30-40 seconds and it will create an agent. Okay. So in this process, if you see checking for the capacity of this GPT-5, if you see this one, the region which I have selected was the Switzerland. Okay, north. Okay. So it is checking whether in that region GPT 5 point something can be deployed or not. Okay, that is what it is checking. Okay, so like a capacity checking. So whenever you create an agent within this Microsoft ecosystem, it will provision you one of the LLM while creating an agent. Okay. So if you see the word deploying GPT-5, so GPT-5, they are trying to deploy it in the Switzerland North region. Okay. They have checked it and it is available. And now it is created. So my agent has created, are being created in Switzerland North with help of GPT-5, that is a provision. Okay. So in that region. So let's wait and we'll see the agent created. Okay. So once you have this screen, okay, once you have created the agent, okay, so we'll have a screen like this. Okay. So this screen talks about, there are a lot of things. And again, so as in the, enterprise level, you need an access to these all services. There is something called deployment, fine tune. So people who have access to finance data, maybe healthcare data, and they want to create their own small language model, a fine tuned model. So you can create it through this fine tune. You have something called services. So which service you want to give access to LLM? For example, on the right side, right now I'm writing something. This is just for our reference. So when you say AI agent, there is something called LLM. So here in this case, the LLM is GPT 5.0, let's say. So if you see this one, this is the GPT. Okay. Now, LLM alone cannot take action. So that is why we need tools. Okay. And there is something called memory. Okay. And also something called guardrails. So when you say AI agent, LLM alone cannot take actions. We need an access to tool at least up to this one. Then we can call it as an agent. The reason is that it's the tool who will give a kind of external help to your LLM. For example, if I say, a chat GPT, can you book ticket, the same way to from Bangalore to Chennai? They cannot. Okay. Because this is just an LLM, right? But if I give an access to a booking API, okay, kind of in the tool column or in the API column, they can easily book ticket for me, and also they can schedule, in my Gmail also they can send the notification in my Gmail. So that is the action that I am talking about, going out from your territory. Okay, that is the agentic word. For example, you might have heard of something called raw agent, and there is a term called informer. Okay, so informer, police informer, or anybody informers are the people who just inform that this is the input. They will not take actions. Actions are those who are the agent. For example, raw agent here in this case. If they have informations, they will take actions. They are the one who will execute it, right? Kind of a Durandar, right, or something. So the agents are like that, where they're gonna take some actions. They will not sit idle if they have some informations. They are here to take actions, right? So we'll see this one. So we have a tools. Okay, a lot of tools are there. So let me click it at tools. So there is something called connector. So if you see this one, this is more interesting because if you want to design, enterprise grade, applications end to end for the agentic AI solutions within this Microsoft ecosystems, this is the tool is the something that gives you, added advantage. For example, Azure AI search. So it's for the, again, it's a tool that is used for the knowledge base. We have a work IQ. Okay, these are the the services you can connect. For example, if you have some fabric data, some of the data, analyzed data, so you can use the endpoint, data endpoint. If you have a structured data, right? The fabric data agent that I was just talking about. SharePoint data, if you have a data in SharePoint, that you can give access to. Okay. Now go to something called catalog. If you go to the catalog, here we have a lot of MCP servers. So here it is saying we have browse tools from the public or organizational foundry tool catalog. Some tools may require setup before you use. Okay. So these are nothing but the MCP server. So LLM plus MCP server, it's nothing but just more of a modular APIs. It's again a tools for us in terms of agent. So MCP servers, why we need? Because LLM doesn't have that much information. Okay, so that is why we are helping LLM to giving the access to tools so that they can execute my task. They can solve my problem, right? So that is why this tool called through this MCP is giving an extra added advantage to the agents, right? So what all MCP servers we have in this Microsoft ecosystem is MongoDB, Azure Managed Redis, Dataverse. You see it, a lot of tools, these catalog tools are available. Go next and hit. So these all MCP servers will help you to create end-to-end enterprise grade generative and agentic AI solutions. Okay. And there is something called custom. For example, if you have created your own APIs, so here you can use it. There is something called MCP that you can directly connect with. And also there is something called agent to agent connect, communication. So how, let's say there are two agents, okay? Let's say one is a, data extractor agent, web crawler agent. And second agent is like a kind of summarizer agent, okay? So if you are using two, three agents, how it will communicate to each other. So this is what we can experiment with, okay? So this is the tool calling. There is something called knowledge. So when you say a knowledge, for example, if you have a document in PDF, Word or something, from here you can, you can add this knowledge. Okay. There is something called memory also. Memory means, for example, if you are creating an agent that should remember your past conversations, or if you have opened session in the second session or something. Okay. They also remember that what you have asked in the first session. Okay. So these are something called, the memory. Also, we have access to something called data. You can create your data. Data generation is there. Something called storage, stored completions. And this is important if people are more into this, enterprise level, or I would say, end to end. If you want to have this LLM evolution or responsible AI domain, if people are working. So this is the, one of the best feature inside this Microsoft, Foundry, where you can evaluate the LLM response. So you can create it from here. So you go and hit this create. So let's say this is the web search agent. I'll select it. I'll go next. If it is individual term, I can go next. And let's say there is something called benchmark. If you see, there are a lot of benchmark data available. Okay. So you can select it from the benchmark data. If you have, let's say, some of the existing data set, if you have your own data set, kind of that, what would LLM should do? If this is the questions, this should be the response, right? It's a golden data set, okay, that you can attach, okay? And then you can do some field mapping and create these evaluations, okay? Also, there is something called guardrails. So if you see the guardrails means something which you do not want your LLM to produce. For example, at input level, it's like a child lock. You do not want some content to be seen to few people, right? So for example, at LLM level, for example, if it is related to healthcare or finance, they do not want PII informations or some of the sensitive informations LLM produce it. You do not want, because you will mask it. So this guardrail is a place where this gives you flexibility to mask your, the LLM response at both at input and at output level, because people can ask any questions. You do not have freedom to, stop them. But how you can stop it, even if they have put in the questions, right? Put in the prompt. So again, through this guardrail, you can filter some of the content, right? So this is what you can do it within this Microsoft form. So let's go to the agent. So we have created this wave search data. Okay. So let's hit this one. So this is the playground in the left side. Okay. On the right side, this will give us a response. So if you see in this left side, the model is there. So we have a lot of models, but here we have selected while provisioning this GPT-5, right? And also you can give the instructions to the voice bot, but right now we are not, right? And this is the instruction. This is nothing but it's more of a prompt. Let's say I would say you are an wave search AI agent and give response related to healthcare. Healthcare. Okay, I'm just writing healthcare. Okay. Now just save it. There is something called save. Okay, once you save it. Okay. Now go down. There is something called tools. Because LLM alone cannot give a response. Right now, it will give us a response from this LLM. Okay. But if you go to these tools, there is something called wave search. Okay. But go as wave search is already enabled, we can also disable it. But right now, I'm adding one tool to this LLM is called wave search. Okay. So I have added this. I made it on. So my data will come from wave search. Wave search means it will navigate to the entire internet and then it will give a response. It's like reading from the Google. Huh? Now there is something called knowledge. You can add the knowledge if you have some PDF, Word or Doc from here. Also, there is something called memory. Right now, as my region is different, so it can give us the memory also. And the guardrail you can put in also. Okay, guardrails. Okay, you can put it. So how many guardrails are there? So if you see there's something called jailbreak, content safety, protected materials. Okay. So these are the the guardrails. For example, risk without control. One is indirect prompt injection, sensitive data leakage. Because when you create an agent, end-to-end and a production environment. So in that case, these guardrails, are more important because you must check whether the how your agents are giving a response because the client gonna ask you that what are the risks involved, right? Because if they are in it rolling out in a productions, these things matters a lot, right? So now go up and just I think things are saved. Okay. There is something called publish button. If you go, there are different way of publishing your agent. So this is the one agent that we have created and we publish it. So there is something called a review web page. So preview web page. So once you hit this preview web page, you'll have a screen like this. So this is UI that we are expecting. So I would say, can you give me details about uh, top hand? I'm just asking this small questions. Okay, to the agent. So let's wait and let's see what my agent is giving a response. So if you see this one, it is giving me a response, a lengthy response. And let's see what all they have covered. Okay, it's very important for us. So if you go up, so they are giving a response. Okay, here is a practical evidence-based overview, cough and cold, what it is, types of symptoms. Okay, these things they are giving us. Self-care, what all to be done. Okay, when to seek medical, medical urgently. So everything is coming from, the wave search. If you see this, all these things are coming from the wave search. So this is the one agent that we have seen. Here, only one tool that we have used was the wave search. Okay, so this is the one agent that we have seen. Okay. Now, let's come back to our, one, just allow me some 30 seconds. Okay. So we have seen that how we can create this, agent. Now, Microsoft Foundry, again, it's a unified platform. Okay. So it provides you a lot of flexibility that we talked about. Okay. And there are different LLM tools connections. Okay. Built-in safety is there if you are working in responsibly, and also these frameworks are there. Okay. So jobs, and if you see these opportunities, few of the opportunity in the market, a lot of opportunities revolves around this Microsoft, this Foundry, because your generative AI, if you want to switch to maybe Gen AI engineer, AI engineer, okay, or Azure AI solution architect, maybe Gen AI solution architect, or even in the forward deployed engineering in Azure cloud, this Microsoft Foundry covers 50% of that. Okay. Without this one, you cannot create any of the generative AI or agentic AI solutions, because this is the one, you can say the building block, I would say, for Gen AI and agentic AI both, because it's a one dedicated platform. Okay. So the roles, once you learn this course, so you can apply for, agentic AI engineer, AI Foundry Solution Architect, okay, ML Ops Engineer also, LLM Ops, I would say the consultant level, okay. So AI consultant, I would say, if people can also, if you have a working experience, right, in the AI domain, or if you are a starter, the Microsoft Foundry will give you, I would say the equal opportunity for you people to, have those growth in the market. The reason is that a lot of, the clients, they want in the Azure, because they have also Microsoft Copilot. There are different connectors and tools. They want to connect their agent to those tools. And that is again an enterprise level. Okay. So this will give you a lot of end-to-end, kind of a growth if you learn this course. Okay. Anybody has any questions, you can, unmute and speak up. And also, you can type in if you don't want to speak. Okay. Any questions, anybody? No questions? All good? Abhinav, or
Yes.
any question?
So, sorry, your good name, please.
Satyajit.
Yeah, hi, Satyajit. Very nice explanation. I just want to
Mhm.
know, so the Foundry, only the Foundry we are using in this, or any other applications also in the portal we need to use?
Ah, so can you rephrase your question? So what
No,
I
yeah.
understood. Yeah.
So for this, for the Microsoft AI tools,
Mhm.
so I'm a Azure developer, a data engineering developer. So I'm using
Okay.
Data Factory and the
Hmm.
ADLS, Synops,
Mhm.
those. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
For the AA perspective, I don't know anything. So
Mhm.
now I understand about the Foundry because of you.
Mhm.
So only the Foundry is the tool for AI, or any other tools in the portal we are using?
No. Foundry is the one place
Hmm.
where we have, end-to-end creation of this agent or generative or AI solutions. Okay. So
Okay.
when you say AI, I'm talking about generative AI and agentic AI. In the
Yes.
Microsoft ecosystems, we might have seen machine learning, classical ML is also there, but it is within this Microsoft ecosystem only. Okay, Abhinav?
Okay.
So you only, as you are coming from the data